The evil that men do without knowing it. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Luke 23:34. I grew up in a devoted Catholic family, a household I still consider the benchmark of what Christian marriage and faith can look like. My parents were true pillars of devotion. In all my years at home, I never once saw them quarrel. The only flicker of anger I recall was when, as a young graduate, I returned with gifts, and my father gave away more than my mother thought wise. Their marriage was a quiet sermon, their unity a homily more powerful than any preached from a pulpit. I believed everything they taught me, for I had no reason not to. Only with time did I begin to examine those teachings critically. Today I understand both the beauty and the excesses of their Catholic fundamentalism. They were sincere, yet, like all human beings, they had blind spots. At just 11, I began serving at Mass. For 13 years, the altar was my home of discipline, reverence, and devotion. I cherished that service, but I also saw contradictions. Priests lived in comfortable houses, wore polished shoes and fine cassocks, and enjoyed the dignity of their office. Yet only 30 meters away, cooks, catechists, seminarians, and parish servants languished in poverty. 3 rooms with pit toilets, thin mattresses, and food scarcely enough to live on. These same priests preached equality before God. They taught us to obey Christ's command. So in everything, do to others what you would have them do to you. Matthew 7:12. And yet, unconsciously, they tolerated a system that placed them in comfort, while those who served them lived in neglect. I saw catechists underpaid and worn out, riding broken bicycles to carry the message of Christ. I saw choristers and choir masters singing in torn shoes, bent out of shape. Parishioners gave their widow's mite faithfully, yet remained invisible. Meanwhile, a priest might roar because his cassock was not perfectly ironed or his car not washed on time. And when the bishop came, the contrast was even starker. Parishes prepared like nations welcoming royalty. Lavish dinners, cultural dances, cannon salutes, and fat envelopes of money. Our Lord Bishop is coming, they declared, sparing no cost. Indeed, give to everyone what you owe them. If respect, then respect. If honor, then honor. Romans 13:7. But is this service or servitude, priesthood or politics? Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You give a tenth, but you have neglected the more important matters of the law: justice, mercy, and faithfulness. Matthew 23:23. I watched priests lobby for juicy parishes and instigate protests when postings didn't favor them. Some delayed answering the call of the poor and sick, but rushed eagerly to the homes of the rich and powerful. And I could not help but ask, are politicians sometimes better than our clergy? This, I realized, is the evil that men do without knowing it. It is not always deliberate wickedness, but blindness. Blindness to the dignity of the poor, blindness to the inconsistency between preaching and practice, blindness to the Christ who came not to be served, but to serve. Christ himself settled the matter. Whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be slave of all. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve. Mark 10:43-45. A gospel not lived is a gospel not believed. Leadership without service is tyranny draped in sacred robes. This is why the example of Burkina Faso's young military leader resonates. He refused excess, took no inflated salary, and lived simply among his people. His message carries power because his life is his homily. Likewise, the early Christians were not first called Christians because of creeds or cathedrals, but because their behaviour mirrored Christ himself. Acts 11:26. So the question echoes still, must we continue to serve those who are supposed to serve us? If leadership were truly equal to service, then priests would be shepherds, not lords. Bishops would be fathers, not princes. Politicians would be saints, not sinners. By their fruits you will know them. Matthew 7:16. The evil men do without knowing it is not only in their actions, it is in their blindness. Blindness tolerated becomes tradition, but Christ calls us higher. He calls us to open our eyes, to see the least among us, to honor the forgotten, and to remember that the true altar of God is not marble or vestments, but the dignity of his people. And perhaps then, the gospel we preach will finally burn bright enough to transform both pulpit and pew.